Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Duluth, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Hey, we have special guests with us. Keaton, Weiss, and Russell Dobular are the hosts of Due Dissidence show on YouTube, Rumble, and Substack. You know them, you love them. Hello, fellas.
Hello. Jimmy.
Pleasure to be here, though. This kind of kills the fan theory that me and Matt Walsh are the same person.
Oh.
People have speculated that in the past.
So
and
that's
now,
gone out the window.
Now it's out the window. Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw this. I wanted to play it for both of you before we get to the real reason I brought you on. In 2020, Ice Cube said, withhold your vote until they give you something, which is what I've said about Hillary Clinton. I said, come get my vote. I said that about Joe Biden. Come get my vote. That's how politics works. You don't get to just shame me into voting for you because someone else is worse. You have to come get my vote. And so that's what he's basically getting. So he said it back then and they gave him a hard time. And then here we go. He's doing it again.
Process. You don't vote just to vote. You vote because you're getting something or your community is getting something. So everybody that's telling you that, man, look at them and say, what are you getting? Because people that just want you to vote and not ask for nothing, people that's in power that want you to vote but don't want you to get anything or not asking for you to get anything economically, they suspect, straight up. Because a lot of people been in place for a long time and we ain't got shit. That shit gonna end. That shit gonna end. We gonna get what we supposed to get. Period. And anybody asking you not to ask, I wouldn't listen to them. Because that's the process. Every community asks for what they want. And we gonna do the same goddamn thing.
I don't know what planet
Anybody telling you
okay
that you gotta vote, that it's your duty, that you have to exercise the right, and that people died for you to vote. For one, people did die, but nobody walked out their house to go die for you to vote. They were killed by probably some racists that don't want to see us get anything. Be skeptical of anybody telling you to vote and not telling you to ask for anything or to tell you to just vote and not to get anything for your vote. That's not how it works.
So I don't know what planet he's from, but here in America, we vote for whoever our peers pressured us into voting for, just to keep them as friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't have time for purity tests and making us think about our decision. That hurts. And our psychologist tells us we need to stop doing things that hurt ourselves.
Apparently, he has not heard that the arc of the universe is long and it bends towards justice. And you just have to vote harder. And you just have to wait. Also, I don't know what cave he's living in, but apparently he's not heard that Orange Man bad.
He has not heard that. But you know what was interesting to me is, first of all, he's echoing what Lawrence O'Donnell said before he got his job at MSNBC. You remember what he said before he got his job at MSNBC? He's saying exactly what Ice Cube has been saying the last two election cycles. So here it is.
If you want to pull the party, the major party that is closest to the way you're thinking, to what you're thinking, you must show them that you're capable of not voting for them. If you don't show them you're capable of not voting for them, they don't have to listen to you. I promise you that. I worked within the Democratic Party. I didn't listen or have to listen to anything on the left while I was working in the Democratic Party because the left had nowhere to go.
So that is fake tough guy Lawrence O'Donnell before they pulled him aside, roughed him up, traumatized him to the point where he'll never utter that truth ever again. He'll never say that on his show ever again. But that's what he was saying. That's all he's saying. And when he said it online on Twitter, immediately, this got almost 2,000 likes. They said Ice Cube is in business partners with Steve Bannon, a known fraudster who is currently in jail for frauding. And when he got out in November, will go back to jail for more frauding. Nothing else to say is. So you're not speaking to his point, isn't that? So that just seems like, I don't know.
That's all they do.
So are you saying that he's wrong to tell his community to ask for something for his vote? And it got 2,000 likes almost. You're saying don't ever ask for anything for your vote? Why don't you speak to what his point is instead of just doing character assassination? I know, because his point is right, and you don't want to address that. Because Kamala Harris isn't going to give anything to his people. Go ahead.
I mean, people play this weird psychological game where on the one hand they'll say, look, don't take it so seriously. Voting is not an expression of your inner soul. It's just a choice you make on election day. You say, okay, well, then my choice on election day is not to vote for either of them. Well, what do you mean? You have to pick one. You have to pick one. It's your duty to pick one. It's like, it's like they don't have their story straight. What did George Carlin say? Trump. He said, people like to say people who don't vote have no right to complain. He said, I think it's the exact opposite. I think people who don't vote are the only ones who have a right to complain, because when whoever you voted for does something horrible, I can say, look, I had nothing to do with it. I think the default should be not to participate and only vote for someone if they give you a reason to, because mathematically voting is like the most inefficient expression of political sentiment. I mean, you're one in 300 million votes. So unless you really feel like you're going out and voting for something, I think it's your choice not to do it. People didn't die for your right to vote. They died for your right to choose whether or not to vote. Freedom of participation is freedom to decide whether or not to participate at all. And so, all the self-righteous virtue signaling about voting and who you have to vote for, it just seems to be deployed for convenience, depending on the time.
Well, here's a video you got in Chicago. Here's a black guy, ex-con, who says he's voting for Trump. Here we are.
All right, yes. So you support Trump?
Yes, I support the office.
And you also support Palestine?
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
Trump doesn't, though, right?
I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm against the Democratic Party. It don't matter if it was Mickey Mouse in the office or Republican office. I'm voting for Mickey Mouse. So it's not about the personality. His issues, not my issues.
Okay, but if you support Palestine, do you not like that he supports Israel?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're choosing to look past it, basically.
That's I've been dealing with this Democratic Party that's caused disinvestment to our community for 60 years. So it's time to get rid of them. So if it could be the devil in office, I'm voting for him against that devil over there.
Okay, do you actually like Trump, or you just like him better than the Democrats?
I want Trump to dislike Trump. That's the problem with human beings. You dislike people you don't even know. And that's the problem with racism. That's the problem with sexism. That's the problem with all those things. So, it's not about who's in office and who's sitting in office. Look who's sitting in office now. The Democrats. So who you going to pick? Who you going to pick? Which devil you picking?
All right, so you don't feel like because Kamala Harris is a black woman that you have to support her?
What's she black at?
You don't feel she is?
Black? She's not for us. You know how many black people, Obama was so-called black. Look at our communities in Chicago. And this is his city.
Do you feel Trump did better for those communities?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
In what way?
Clinton 94 crime bill ushered us into prison. Trump's second step has released 50,000 of men that the Clinton crime bill over sentenced. So everybody, even a clock is right a broken clock is right twice a day. So it's always good and bad. You can find that in both.
So just to let you know, Republican Donald Trump's 12% share of the black vote in 2020 was 4 percentage points higher than it was in 2016. And I've seen where it's been up to 22%. And the Reuters found that in July, 18% of Black Americans would pick Trump over Biden in a hypothetical matchup, compared to 46% who favored Biden, including about 1 in 4 Black men, compared to about 1 in 7 Black women. So, I can't believe that Bernie Sanders, we went from half the Democratic primary voting in 2016 of the voters choosing to overthrow the Democratic establishment and get corporate money out of the party. And those people are all gone now. They don't ever, Bernie, he trained them to not ask for anything for their vote. And they don't. That's what this is. And then when someone does, he's looked at as a pariah. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is what Democrats really can't reckon with. You know, Michelle Alexander, the author of The New Jim Crow, she wrote an article, and you can look it up. It's still online, Why Hillary Clinton Doesn't Deserve the Black Vote. She wrote that in 2016. And one of the pictures in it is a picture of how Bill Clinton announced his campaign in 92. He announced it at the birthplace of the KKK at the Stone Mountain Correctional Facility with a phalanx of Black prisoners in chains behind him. And if that didn't communicate the message clearly enough, he took the picture with Cooter from the Dukes of Hazzard standing next to him, who at that time was actually a congressman. Now, I have challenged Democrats in every election. If you can give me a credible, non-racist explanation for why Bill Clinton announced his campaign that way, I promise I will vote for the Democrat for president. If you can give me a credible, reasonable, non-racist explanation for that. And nobody has ever even attempted to decipher that as a non-racist picture. Democrats cannot face the fact that in the end, not because they're necessarily more racist, but because their political calculations are different, the Democrats, the modern Democrats, have done more damage to the Black community by orders of magnitude than the Republicans have. Because for them, they view the Black community as a community that's captive and that has nowhere to go. So they can do whatever they want to the Black community. In the end, they've always believed they'll still get the Black vote. The Republicans are coming at elections with a very different calculus. All they need to do is peel away a few percentage points of the Black vote, and they win. They're unbeatable. So for them, they are motivated to actually try to win over that community. Whereas the Democrats are looking at white people in the suburbs who want to see them get tough on crime. Look at Kamala. Look at Kamala. They're leaning into her record as a tough prosecutor because they assume they have the Black vote on lock. They're always concerned about white people in the suburbs who will put BLM signs on their front lawns all day, but like to know that the police are out there cracking heads. And that's the dance. That's the game that they've always played.
Well, that's the game. But if you look at those numbers, Jimmy, that you just put up on the screen about how the Republicans have made these inroads with Black voters, it's true. They have. 2020, they got 12% of the Black vote. That should have spelt doom for Joe Biden. And, if Trump is due to get within, 15 to 20% of the Black vote this time, which I think is certainly doable, that should spell doom for the Democrats. What has kept the Democrats in the game, though, is that their base has gotten so much richer and so much whiter that they have been able to trade it to such a point where that it keeps them in the game. Like they really have swapped bases to such a large extent. This is the ultimate irony. The Democrats have always, thought of Trump as this spearhead of white nationalism, of a white nationalist movement. But as Trump and Trumpism have come to define the Republican Party has become more diverse and the Democratic Party has become whiter. Right. The complete opposite has happened. And it's happened to such an extent that the Democrats have survived politically, despite the fact that they are bleeding I won't just say black votes, because the Hispanic vote looks like it's going to be pretty big for Trump this time too. But they have really made a successful pitch to these comfortable upper middle class PMC moderates, and it has kept them in the game.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Duluth, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.